Is there any citizens' comments?
None were called in prior to the meeting.
All right.
I believe our attendees are both here for the appropriate activity.
All right. Great. Well, then let's get busy on the new business. So we want to look, I want to make sure I got the right packet for the right,
The sign will be the first one.
the sign will be the first one.
Yep, so just read it as listed on the agenda, please.
All right. So we're looking for, the first one is certificate of appropriateness for West End Historic District, an application by Tyler Antewok and behalf of Asher Martin Incorporated at 524 Main Street, and is for the projecting sign.
So in your packet is included the sign permit information that was provided as part of his permit, and then his application for the certificate of appropriateness.
There's the sign on it.
You can see this is what's called a projecting sign, so it juts out from the building at an angle. It will be 36 inches in width, 36 inches in length, about 6 inches in diameter. We'll say tapped along the frontal
Outside
side, and then have the T logo on the side. There's a description of what the sign will be made of. Sign is constructed of a powder-coated steel, interior lined with an opaque plastic sheeting with lighting inside of it to light up that T and the tap on the front. And it's metal studs on the facade with carriage bolts. So then there is provided a picture of what the building looks like in its current state. It is under construction right now. You can see the oil rub bronzed windows that were previously reviewed by this body. And then there is an architectural rendering with kind of a side view showing the signage in red and how it'll project out over the public right of way. And then again, in red, right there, you can kind of see where it is over the door.
So, Mr. Chair, I had just one question in this process. As I looked through it, I was just curious in terms of, we have living facilities going in up above, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is the signage, the backlit part of the signage, controlled LEA lumens so that we're not going to get 1,000 complaints from the.
Right, because you were dealing, I heard you.
We have the same issue at the
With
Liberty
Liberty,
across the
'cause-
street, of course. I don't have any problem with the signs, they're extremely attractive, and I like that material. I don't have any complaint about this at all.
Right.
Other than I just want to make sure that we don't have,
And I think.
I guess the working hours of this business are likely to be what? I guess that would be my first question.
Well, so we do have the applicants here, so we could have them come up to the front.
Yeah, come on up.
A very large sign I was using at my previous meeting.
And we won't make this questions any tougher than that, I
Right.
promise. And they'll-
I'm ready if you
And they'll
want
go
to.
fast.
So you'll need to give us your name and your address, please.
Hi, my name is Tyler Yankoviak of 243 Circle Drive in Moscow, representing Joel and I's building at 524 Main Street in Lewiston.
Okay, so we just have that simple question in terms of, at least that's my question. We have a lot of people who have been objecting to LED lights. We're just going to that same process with the Liberty Theater,
Gotcha.
neon versus LED. And we need, our complaints that we got with some of the signs at the edge of the district with Freedom Bank were huge. With the lumens being so great that it really, the objection came from the apartment
I see.
renters.
That should hopefully be a non-issue. So the lights are contained within the metal framework.
And they're down under.
And they're under, and the idea is just for it to be a very soft glow so that it's visible at night, but it shouldn't project much light beyond the sign at all.
And then, is it the plastic on the sign besides where maybe it's cut out? Is this like is it red or what color?
No, it's not. So it is, it's a opaque white plexiglass that'll
Okay.
be mounted to the interior.
Okay.
Um,
So,
So, yeah, you won't be able to actually see the lights directly.
right, okay.
That'll be
Hey,
diffusing
Tyler,
the light.
That's really the question I had. I think you've answered it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be fine here, sounds like.
Okay, so let's go ahead and go through the review sheet unless you guys have any more questions for Tyler. And if you do, as you're going through, he can come back up and,
Yeah.
and answer those as we go.
Have a seat. All right.
So remember, when it comes to the review sheet, please read the title at the top of each section, and then the group can decide if that applies or not. Many of these are not going to apply since this is specific to a sign.
Correct.
And the question that was asked at the very beginning of the meeting, the signage does meet the requirements of the historic district. I pulled up that section right there for everybody. So you can see that combined total area of sign per lot street frontage shall not exceed 25 square feet if they have 30 feet of lineal street frontage. This building has 2 sets of street frontage because they have both main and F. So then they're allowed up to 32 square feet because they have more than the 25. And the sign that's being proposed is 36 inches by 36 inches, which is 3 by 3, which is 9.
What section of the code is that?
I'm gonna have to scroll back up. 30-18 is signs in historic districts.
Okay, thank you.
And it doesn't, and there's nothing that says specific about projection.
Yep, so here's a section that's specific to projecting signs.
There we go.
So they need to be spaced at least 15 feet apart.
We're golden there.
We can only have one, so we're fine. It may project over the public right of way, which this one does because it goes over the sidewalk. But as you can see from the drawings that were submitted, it's above the distance that's
Right, which
required.
is, yeah,
Which is gonna be that 7 feet 6 inches above a sidewalk. Maybe internally illuminated, may not be an animated sign, and that they're asking for an internally illuminated, not an animated sign, so
well, looks like we're golden.
good there.
All right, let's go. All right, so the first category, brick, stone, and concrete. I think this would not apply.
Agree, it does not apply.
Next section, B, metals. Let's run through this because it is preservation of character, defining historical metal features. Believe so. It fits. Protective coatings on metal features. Yes.
Those aren't historical protective coatings, so this is a new metal
New sign.
feature. So I would say that that probably does not apply
Yeah,
since it's not an
I'm looking at this.
existing.
Yep.
Section doesn't apply.
Metal
No
feature.
apply. All right. Wood. It's a metal sign, so I don't think this is going to apply. All right. Design guidelines for historic building elements.
I think we traditionally don't count a sign unless it is a historical sign as a building element, unless the commission feels differently.
I'm not seeing signs in any of these, so I would say NA. Agree?
Agree.
Windows, again,
Does not apply.
does not apply. Section F, doors, again, all right. Roofs, no. Moving right along. H, awnings and canopies. Not applicable, okay. Chimneys,
Oh,
I think we're there, okay. Balconies, no. Sign guidelines for additions to historic buildings, okay. No, 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 no. L, design guidelines for parking facilities,
Lighting,
Lighting.
signs. and
lighting
street-
signs and streetscapes.
This is where we're gonna hang out.
All right. So we'll camp here, and I will start with number 1. Off-street parking behind party wall buildings or sheeted, yep. 2, locating off-street parking lots. Not, all right. Use of simple, low-intensity lighting fixtures casting a warm light, similar to daylight, focused on buildings, entrances, signs, first floor detailing. Historic lighting fixtures should be preserved if possible. Modern fixtures should be compatible with the historic building and surroundings in terms of size, scale, and color. I'd say it is applicable, and I believe it does comply. Anybody else?
Yes.
4, consistent street lighting fixtures throughout the historic district may be a means of unifying the area. Although the fixtures do not need to imitate historical types, dark colors reminiscent of cast iron may be appropriate for earlier historic districts, while a silver color reminiscent of aluminum may be appropriate for mid-century districts. I'd say they're using the powder coated to make it look like iron.
Probably not, because
It's not a light
next one is the one that really.
Yeah.
Is this the one that really applies? Okay, so we're gonna say non-applicable on this one?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Use of signs that are compatible with and do not overwhelm the architecture of the building and district. Avoid plastic signs if possible. Consistent size and placement of signage contributes to unification of the downtown area.
That's a yes.
I'd say yes. Unanimous? Okay, good. Historic building names or historic signs should be retained if possible as part of the historic building.
Something like a sign.
Was it, and I don't know if it was one of those that we.
It had various signs over the years.
But not like,
What did
it's
we
not
have?
like the Bojack sign where everybody knows it.
Right. All right. So this is a yes.
A yes or a no?
Oh, for this one?
Not
Number
applicable.
Not- not-
sign,
not applicable. Preservation of historic painted advertisements on exterior building walls. Careful repainting of faded images may be acceptable, not applicable. Service structures such as garbage utility doesn't apply. Power and telephone poles should be compatible in terms, right? I think that's, doesn't apply. Maintenance of pleasant streetscapes, perhaps with trees, okay. I'd say non-applicable. Historic features such as original street furniture, statues, nope. Guidelines for new construction.
Oh, wait,
Oh, yeah,
you missed
12,
12.
13.
Oh, did I miss 12? Oh, wait, sorry guys, got ahead of myself. Until about the 1920s, most commercial district buildings were constructed as party wall structures with the main, this is not applicable. Presence of pleasant public spaces encourages, okay, yeah. And where exists historic brick street. All right. Thank you, keeping me straight. Design guidelines for new construction with historic district. Nope, I
And
see,
the interior is, but for the
Yeah.
sign purpose, this is not new construction.
this is not applicable,
So we get to move approval of?
I believe so.
Approval of the application from Tyler. Ankowiak, is that right?
That is.
Okay, at 524 Main Street, Lewiston, Idaho.
I'll second.
Those in favor of accepting the application?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right. So far, so good.
Thank you, Tyler.
Yes.
On to your second one.
I think this is gonna-
Read the title for me.
Might be a little more involved.
She needs you to read the
I
title.
need you to read the title.
Of course you do.
We'll get you there. It's your first meeting leading.
Yes.
It'll be okay.
All right. Certificate of appropriateness for West End Historic District, an application by Joel Cohen on behalf of Asher Martin, RELLC, at 530 Main Street for exterior entrance for upstairs apartments.
So the packet that was sent out, I printed everything off for you guys again, and has like the first big piece, and then Joel provided additional information that I also printed off for you. This came to me after the packet was sent out, so I just printed everybody a copy of it. And it looks like Joel also brought a sample of the wood, so we'll have him kind of speak here in a second. So there's a picture of the wood that they're proposing to do the covering, a picture of the door example, some more of the architectural kind of drawings showing that it kind of juts out a little bit. It has the door, will have a light fixture above it for the residents of the apartments upstairs. Again, another streetscape kind of photo showing the restaurant space and then where that door goes and the neighboring property at Headmasters. And then there is an email from the folks at Headmasters just kind of confirming that they approve of what he's gonna be doing with the little jutting out of that entranceway. Currently, that entrance is sort of recessed and only has like a gate on it.
Right.
So it's not very secure, and my understanding, and Mr. Cohen can back me up if I am wrong, is to provide for a more secured entrance and exit for the apartments that will be opened upstairs. Did I kind of cover that okay? Yep, if you'll come up to the front and then just introduce yourselves and state your address for the record, I would appreciate that.
My name is Joel Cohen, and my address is 418 East B Street in Moscow. I brought a piece of the wood. I threw a stain on it to get an idea what it would look like, but I don't think we like the stain very much. So we'll probably stick with the natural wood. And sorry, I didn't realize it would smell so strongly. So apologies for that. So we are kind of forced to do an enclosure at the bottom. That's where this all started from, for a couple reasons. We need to have the stairway be conditioned space so our sprinklers don't freeze. And of course, we wanted to have a secure entrance for the tenants, just so there aren't any people that decide to sleep in there overnight or anything like that. Now, in order to do anything, it has to be brought up to code. And that means we can't have any kind of door at the bottom of the stairs because it doesn't have an appropriate landing. So that's why this whole thing has to be built in the first place. And that's what we're, again, we needed permission from the neighbor because the stairway is technically their property, even though we have I don't know what the right term is, but we have rights to use it. But it is technically part of the property. So those are the conditions around it, and I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
So I guess, Mr. Chair, I had one question when I was looking at this. We don't have any other buildings that have a wood facade downtown, but we have such an eclectic mess down there. I mean, it really isn't consistent in any way, and we're not trying to make it consistent, right? Is that what the rest of you would understand? We're supposed to make it look nice.
No, I personally, I like the look, especially for the kind of business it's gonna be, but my concern is that it doesn't really go with our historic buildings. So, but yeah, I can't say I have a remedy in mind at this point.
It is, since Reitinger did the panels going like this downtown, it's more consistent than it would have been before that.
It is a little more reflective of.
Yeah, it's more kind of
That section of
steampunky
the-
look. If you've,
And it also, I feel like it also kind of goes with the building
just down that Mr. Starnes owns that has a garage door in it. But that also has like that metal and wood kind of feel. So although it's not maybe reflective of
Well, it's extremely attractive. I mean,
other
I-
buildings, I feel like I feel like you guys could get there, you know?
I don't,
Yeah.
I don't think that there's anything that's going to give me a heartache through this, but it,
And given, I guess the other thing to think about is,
from 500 down to 600 is just eclectic.
yes, it is. And I would think about, you know, what do those, you know, just like several of you have mentioned, think about what those other buildings look like. Think about what it looked like before. Is this an improvement? You know, is this making that building as a whole look very cohesive? I would probably go that direction as we work through.
All right, well, let's do this.
Let's just work through it.
Yeah, so, and I might just have some quick questions. So, for instance, you see how is there going to be any linear, when you put this up, is it all going to go horizontal?
We need to log it in horizontal.
There's no linear,
Because we wanted to be consistent.
right? All right, and so, and then as this goes, as you guys improve your building over here, is Headmasters going to do anything with their facade, or is this going to remain the same?
I'm not aware of them doing anything.
So it's just you and your little jut, this is what we're talking about, and then,
Does it say you're buying carpet for them or something? I thought I read that. somewhere.
Yes, they wanted me to fix their carpet out in the front, their black carpet, that's, so, it's not a big
you're like,
deal.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Let's move
Yeah.
through this, yeah.
I think, I don't know, I think it's kinda neat. I kinda like the rustic raw look. I don't really like the stain either, honestly, alright? Okay, moving on, here we go. Brick, stone, and concrete. Not applicable.
Metals we've
Thanks.
already approved, right?
Happy to answer any more questions.
Well, so they are proposing a metal door, so I don't know if you want to, a metal look.
Or not. We go under the door section or here?
There's probably a door section.
You know, I think that that's for you guys to decide, is if you want to.
To me, like it fit the door section really well, but.
Yeah, let's do the window doors and more.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because I think, yeah, metals, talks about coatings, it doesn't talk about windows or doors there at all, so let's do that. Wood, definitely. So we already kind of had this conversation a little bit. So preservation of character, defining historical wood features, repair of, historical wood features if needed by patching and splicing with compatible wood. Replacement in kind with the same size, type, and material only if the historical elements is too deteriorated to repair.
So this is not a historical element.
No, not.
Because as you can see from the existing photo, you know, they just have the
Mhm.
little metal gate and as it currently stands, that metal gate like goes right up to the stairs. And like Mr. Cohen said, that doesn't meet code now because they are required to have a landing for safety and fire reasons. So, there's not currently any wood.
So, and so it's gonna be, okay.
I
All
would say
right,
it's probably not
So that
applicable.
kind
Not
of
applicable.
says the rest of the section doesn't work either.
Yeah, because I mean, so all of that is for historical wood elements.
which we are not, so yes, that section is not applicable. Okay.
Doesn't look like anything in that section is.
Design guidelines for historic building elements, it might fit in here. Preservation of character, defining historical features. And I think, you know, I would say that storefront has probably been changed.
Oh, it's been changed 3 times since I've been here.
Yeah, so, I say this particular one, preservation of, right, character defining historical features of the storefront, main facade, include display windows, bulkheads, they've totally kind of
I mean, I don't know that there are historical defining.
that's what I'm
features of that.
saying, I just say So should we
I
say
mean,
that's,
it's always been that recessed thing that I don't, because of the way that the building is, I don't think that that's ever been a super noticeable, it's been tucked.
it's been tucked back there, right?
Cause like there's some other entrances to second floor apartments and they're more noticeable from, you know, your main street. That one's always been kind of tucked in there.
Right, and from what I'm picking up here, it looks like, so the facade or this new little jut will be flush with your building though, right? Basically, or is there still,
Sound a little bit.
There's a little bit
Is
of
it
aesthetic.
on your side?
A little bit.
on your side just a little bit though, right?
Like what Katie's saying, that building, that space that's kind of gonna be empty, yeah, that storefront angles back. That's
Yeah,
how
if
it's
you
Oh, it's
look at-
angled, okay.
If you look at, so he did provide the, like, kind of the site plan for, in the architecturals.
Okay.
And so you can see where Headmasters is and how the front of their building is. You can see the little jut that's kind of outlined in red here.
Mhm.
And then you
Okay.
can see that, the space where, that's like next to where Taft is, that building does have an angle where it has, you know, kind of jogs off from
Right.
the rest of the building.
I'm looking at this now.
Mr. Chair, I think that D is not applicable.
Okay. Thank you for reading through those. And I'm saying it's not either, from what I'm seeing. Windows.
Applicable.
Doors, here we go. Preserving the function and decorative features of historic doors, particularly the main entrance. Important historic door features include the door, side lights, transom lights, hardware, and decorative detail. Features too deteriorated to repair can be replaced in kind. Is not applicable. And the preservation of historical doorways is not applicable.
The next one probably is.
Yeah, I would.
If replacement, here we go. Use of new doors that retain the appearance of the original materials and design, particular on high visible facades, is desirable. Replacement with a very ornate door is discouraged unless supported by historical photographic evidence. And I think what they're proposing here and what I saw in the,
I would say applicable.
it's applicable.
So if, I mean, as you can see from the drawings that were submitted, I think the idea is to kind of echo the look of the
The building.
door windows that are adjacent to them.
Correct.
Now, see, I guess I feel like it, to me, it looks like a residential door. In one of the earlier
Well,
One of the earlier pictures, it showed a door that looked like the
because it was on a,
windows.
That's a good question. So there's a difference between the white door and the.
Well, not just the white door was very
Oh, yeah, so
residential.
design.
so this picture showed.
Yeah, that one right
more
there.
like
Now that looks like a commercial downtown
it
door,
does.
and it goes with their windows, so I'm just curious about I mean, I understand that residential door is insulated and it does all of what you need, but I think downtown it's gonna look weird to have, oh, that's what my door is at home, you know, it's just gonna look a little odd, so.
So do you guys wanna address that? So this was what the original, what you originally sent me, and then the additional information you sent us that one.
The original thing was my dad, he did that. Just taking some artistic license, because I hadn't told him what door I had chosen yet. So when I chose this door, I actually just thought it was a nicer looking door, a matter of opinion, of course, than those commercial doors that are just have the handle and the push bar kind of thing. That's why I went with it. So that was really all, and I thought it was a nicer looking door. That's why I chose it. So.
Okay.
I think it's a nice door, I just don't know if it fits in the commercial setting is my concern.
It kind of, what we're saying is, it kind of sticks out as, you know, because you have your nice kind of industrial looking doors and windows to your facade, and then this looks like a nice apartment door, or and the door you're going, that you would see on someone's front porch.
Sure.
So, I
From
guess,
my standpoint, the original one looked really compatible, but this one,
Yeah,
yeah,
the one that she showed
I'm
us.
not sure that the
That's the
solid
one.
door is, so, but that's.
That's the one that that one you like? Yeah, that's the one I have. That's the door I'm proposing.
Oh, okay, so we thought that you were proposing,
this one here,
So
right?
the original submittal was for that kind of more open.
Yeah, so that's the one
commercial.
that I think works.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the one that has the most glass,
Yeah,
not that one.
Not this one, this one.
yes.
That's a bigger picture.
Yeah.
This one is the one that looked like Headmasters and your building, that's the one that looked the most.
Yeah.
Cohesive with everything else that's existing.
Yeah. I don't know if you
I
can
think
get
too, we have to think about, we're taking, I realize we're trying to look at it from a historical, but we're transforming these properties into something that they were never contemplated to be.
Sure.
And so, I think it's definitely an improvement what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
And so I guess I think we should allow the latitude if you would prefer to put more of a residential door on, because at the end of the day, historically, you would not put apartments in a commercial district. I mean,
Right.
previously, so.
Well,
I mean, I
most,
see both
At
sides.
least not with the door that came out on your main, you would probably have entered it from the rear.
Alley.
There's nothing ugly here, and as you're door shopping, you may find something to see. Keeping in mind what we're talking about in terms of glass might be an issue.
I'm not married to the door. I just chose it because I liked it. But it's not that important to me.
Maybe it's something that because.
I don't think there's,
So I know that in the past, we've offered suggestions, which is something that you can do. So
Okay.
maybe you put that you find that it applies and the suggestion is for a door that is more commercial looking with glass that's similar. I mean, I don't think you can say only this door.
Yeah, no, we don't
But
want to do that. We don't want to tie your
You could provide the
hands.
suggestion that a
Mr.
door
Chair,
with
I would like to
more
offer that suggestion, and it is a suggestion.
Yes.
Certainly I don't have any objection to approving what they're trying to do.
Yeah. So and this just,
I saw that when I saw the two different doors on the.
yeah, and
well, I
honestly-
feel like it doesn't, it's not, and I understand it's, a new thing in an old area. But I feel like the purpose we're supposed to have here is to try to preserve the look as much as possible while still allowing new use. And I feel like that door doesn't retain any sort of appearance, because at least the windows, I mean, obviously the windows that we approved are totally brand new. They're vaguely resembling something that might have originally been there, but vaguely. But I don't feel like that these residential doors in any way go with.
Glass doors make it much easier to approve, like number 5 on the section of additions to historical buildings.
So are you following what we're talking about as far as the difference in the doors? So this is more kind of, and I guess,
Let's move on.
yep, all right, just wanted to make sure we're all clear in that we are good there. So we will, as we go to G, right? Is that where we're at now? All right, let's go to G. Roofs,
Not applicable.
not applicable. Awnings and canopies, not applicable. Chimneys. Not applicable. Balconies, not applicable. Design guidelines for additions. So I guess are we gonna consider that an addition?
It is kind of an
There are
addition,
a couple
because it
here
does
that kind of
specifically say
apply.
construction of additions, and including like
Okay.
exit stairways.
Let's run through this. Construction of additions including elevator shafts and additional exit stairways on less visible facades. the historical building or setback from the main facade. Such additions should be designed to be subordinate to the original building.
So I think they are trying to design it so that it blends in.
Yeah.
I would say it's applicable and yes, and yes.
Yes, yes for me.
Okay. That's for everybody? How you feel? Good? Okay. Construction of additions compatible with the historical building in terms of scale, materials, and character, but easily distinguished from historical portions of the building. I don't think it's applicable. Roof additions, not applicable. Building modifications allowing barrier-free disabled access designed to be compatible with the subordinate to the original building. Disabled access at the main entrance is desirable. Applicable,
Not what they're doing here.
okay. Preservation of additions that have achieved historic significance in their own right, that is additions that are generally 50 or more years of age and retain, that's not applicable, I believe.
Say it's not.
That is additions that are generally 50 or more years of age.
That would be like if you had a building and it had an addition, and although, so Morgan's Alley is the example on this one. It was one building, then it was two buildings, then it was three buildings, now it's one building. That would be, you would, if they were doing something to that building, you would consider that because of that history.
The next section is not applicable, right?
Yes. All right. Design guidelines.
Not applicable.
Not up. Yep. And keep rolling. Design guidelines for new construction within a historical district.
Not a new construction, is it?
Well, I would read through and just make sure there aren't any, because it
Yes.
is considered new construction, that is what it is, but
All
I
right.
don't know if a lot of these are going to
For example,
apply.
probably does.
Yes. Adapted reuse of historical buildings rather than construction of new buildings, I'd say it is applicable, and it's yes, right? All right. Construction of new buildings compatible with surrounding historical buildings in terms of scale, height, materials, and character, and easy, I'd say yes. In portions of the historical district with continuous party wall buildings, new buildings should also be party wall with, okay, I don't think this applies, because they're not,
Yeah, they're not changing that, it is a party wall building, that's remaining
Brick
the
doesn't
same.
apply.
apply. Use of brick cladding on new buildings would generally be appropriate throughout the west, okay. Use of metal cladding, okay, this is not applicable for me. Okay. Design of windows and doors on new buildings' main facade to be compatible with those of nearby historical buildings in terms of general size and alignment.
So again, like we had talked about, I think this is where we put that suggestion.
I think this
for-
is the spot where we do that suggestion. Okay.
And the same would be true for number 6, right?
Yes, just for my point of convert.
I think that they apply, but the suggestion needs to be mirrored there.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll do yes, yes, and say the same exact thing twice.
So, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the application for certificate of appropriateness for the property at 524 Main with suggestions for compatibility that may be even more compatible than what the presented design is.
Okay. For a second.
Point of order, I don't know if it's a procedural issue, but we were considering 530, not 524.
Oh, 30. I didn't be- look.
Are we looking at the sign?
Oh, 5:30, I just
there
jumped
you
the
go.
line, I'm sorry, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
So we.
Just because you get old doesn't mean you can read.
Yeah. So we have a motion and a second. Those in favor of passing the certificate for 530 Main, say aye. Opposed? All right.
I think just, Mr. Chair, a follow-up comment is lots of times what Katie said is true, and for the building owners, many times when we've made a suggestion, people have gone out of here and they've actually really improved even more what the building looks like, so it just gives you one more chance to look at the door.
Sure.
It's not a cracking whip and saying you have to look at the door, but I think it gives you one more opportunity.
I was gonna ask, what does it mean that you recommended a different door? I kind of.
So what we're
It's just a suggestion,
It's just a
that's all.
suggestion, and again, I
The board
think
wants you to consider trying to find a door that looks maybe more like.
there was two, where's the other
A
pictures?
little bit more glass if it was with your push bar and all the other stuff that you need. It
Where's that other picture?
looks a little bit more like
But
the line of
ultimately,
the other.
if you weren't able to find a door like that and you went with the other door that you showed, that would still be fine. It's just a suggestion that maybe consider other options.
I'll look into it, man. Happy to do it. I mean, the only thing that I'm thinking about is how much does, those commercial doors, I charge so much for them.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll just wanna,
You're the owner, you have to.
Yeah, and we're not going to
I mean, and the
cheat it all
other,
down.
I guess,
So
thought
we're
is
just
that
looking-
would be, discussing it with fire and John Smith, the building official.
yeah,
And because there could be something code-wise that won't allow for that residential door.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but it's, that's what it is,
The
it's a
more
suggestion.
closed the door is downtown like that, the more difficulty you have getting it approved, really.
more closed,
Yeah.
like less glass.
Yeah, the glass is what is normally wanted for the commercial building.
And I think, so when we're talking about is compatibility, right? So if you look here, say we have the residential living door, we have
But you don't
some
want,
kind of more.
we understand you may not wanna pay $5,000 for that.
Right.
I mean, resources.
There are
different
limits,
things.
there are
So we're
limits.
not gonna go.
Well, the homeless people
we're
too,
not
the
cracking
door,
the
like
whip
at
saying
Morgan's
people
Alley,
can
they're,
make
now they,
it
this
somehow
year, they've
compatible.
put grooves where the screws on the inside where the thing goes, trying to get in there that way.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
the
happy
one
to
right
try
on the
to-
right side by Bojack
You know,
side.
I wanna,
Yeah, that's
be
amazing
good
what they
neighbors
do.
to everybody, so I'm happy to find a door that we can do it.
Okay.
You know, I will try to do it.
And again, it's just the suggestion.
Ed,
And we need to close the
Ed.
meeting.
you need to finish your duties, Mr. Chair.
All right, sorry. Should we conclude?
You need a motion to adjourn.
Can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right. Meeting adjourned.
All in favor?
Aye. Here you go, thank you.
In the next meeting,